What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Mike Roach podcast, brought to you by the one and only OXP Media and the Battle Canada series. Now, the face you see here, if you're going to be watching this on YouTube, Savannah Hamilton. Okay, Savannah Hamilton is the host of Raptors Today and the sideline reporter for the Raptors 905. Savannah, how are you doing today?
Mike, I am good. I am good. I'm glad to be on your podcast instead of you just coming on my show all the time.
Well, listen, it's a nice change. Like I said, the last time you were on this podcast was probably a few years ago before it was anything like it is now. You know what I mean?
And let me say, remember the last time I was on your podcast, I called the Raptors beating the Bucks.
Yes, that is true. And I think I was pretty much on the fence with that. So kudos to you on that one.
I'll never forget that.
But Savannah, how is it going, man? I mean, the host of Raptors Today, sideline reporter for the 905, you're going ham right now. You're going you're putting in work. Tell me a little bit about how that's going and how those opportunities came for you.
Man, well, I just want to say first and foremost that I'm very, very fortunate, very lucky to have everything work out the way that's been working out, especially through these times. However, I have put my fair bit of work in throughout the years to get to where I am today. It doesn't just happen overnight. I'm excited. I'm ecstatic. When I heard that I was going to be the host of Raptors Today, I was like, wow, like that's the show that's been around for a long time.
So tell us specifically about that for a second. How did you get the word or the call on that? How did it happen?
So last season, when the Disney bubble was going on with the NBA, I had a segment during the middle of the show because we felt like it was needed to talk more than just basketball. We needed to talk about social justice and also kind of get updated on the times with like what social media is saying. There's lots of, opinions out there. And yeah, some of them are like, you could throw them to the wind, to be honest. But like, there's others that are like, no, that person makes a valid point. Let's kind of address it. And like, obviously like NBA players, they're on social media, they're saying things. So how do we kind of highlight that, encompass that into a terms of like a basketball show? So we came out with RTX, which is really Raptors Today Extra, but we just call it RTX, in the middle of Raptors Today. And I mean, that segment did pretty well, got really well received. And so from there, we're, I guess the higher ups are like, okay, well, let's give her a shot to host the whole show, see how the tone and the flow goes with that. I got the great, amazing opportunity to be like right next to like two veterans in this industry, Paul Jones and Sherman Hamilton, and they're such great guys. And they amaze me every single day with how easy they make talking on air look. I can literally say the sky is blue and they'll be like, yeah, the sky is blue. And, did you know that's going to rain? Well, like, I don't really just talk about anything and everything. So when I say like Kyle Lowry, they're like, Kyle Lowry's had a solid performance in the last game. Like,
no, you're so right. You're so right, because it's so funny because I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but you've been working behind the scenes and doing stuff with basketball and at the games and all that stuff. So for people who don't know, when I'm at these games, Savannah is usually right alongside me. We're usually chatting about something, whether it be in the media room, courtside, sitting down, doing something.
We're usually talking crap to each other, man.
All the time. But you're absolutely right. Like seeing these guys day in and day out when they go on air, how easy they make it look is crazy. So I 100% feel you on that. But you're also making it look very easy on air now too.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me because like that's what I want it to look.
Good.
And that's how it's feeling. In all fairness, like everything's kind of clicking right now. Everything's kind of feeling natural. I'm not camera shy, and not that I ever really was, but like now especially it's just like the nerves or any little butterflies before a show, like they've kind of just pretty much gone now. And like
you're a bit of a veteran in that sense, right? Because you've been doing stuff. A lot of people may just see your face and think that you've been a host, but you've done a lot behind the cameras as well.
That's very true. Yeah, like before, and like I would say 5, maybe even 6 years ago, like I was working on a show called The Hangout with Dwayne
Oh, yeah.
Watson and Akil Augustine for NBA TV Canada, and like I started off as basically like an unofficial intern there. I was like an assistant writer, and then I just kind of made my way up to like an assistant director, and then associate producer. And then when Dwayne wasn't around, like he completely trust me to steer the ship and completely produce pretty much the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like I learned a lot from those days, how to form a good question, because talk shows, like, if they're all about the questions that you ask. Like, you can't ask a bad question and have everybody on the talk show agree with it. Like, that's not a good question. Like, of course, like, but if you ask a controversial question that could definitely have people divided, it takes a lot of thought to even like put into a question that will get 2 different answers.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that, I learned like how to do the work behind the scenes that have really like maybe come through now in front of the camera. Because now I'm thinking like, okay, well, how can I get the best answer out of somebody, or a different answer that we haven't heard of before? Well, don't go for the low hanging fruit, like what's above that. So yeah, I feel like you're right. Like I'm very fortunate to have like a lot of behind the scenes experience. I've also worked at CBC, and I had to help out with quality control basically as an associate director there. So I was looking to make sure everything was spelt right, and like that where the show was on time and that everything was clean and crisp. And so I really had to pay attention to details there, which that had nothing to do with sports too. That was just like the news, like the local news and national news. So I mean, completely different tone and feel. But I think it definitely helped me on camera now, because like when I'm getting counts in my ear, I remember like exactly how to get in and get out, or just like attention to details and really listening to what the people are saying. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm glad that it's coming off as if it's easy.
No, that's amazing, man. So tell me, where did the love of the game come from? Because I know you're a big sports person, but I know you're a really, really big basketball person. So where did the love of the game start for you?
Birth. I come from a basketball family. So like first and foremost, my dad played basketball at Manitoba. He's a Brandon Bobcat. My aunts, they all played basketball. One of them played on the Canadian national team, Carol Hamilton. She also played overseas in Europe professionally many times. And like my other aunt, Sandra Hamilton, she has a list of accomplishments herself. She actually started the basketball program at Sheridan College. And then she went on to like go play professional. She was really, really good herself. And so like between like my family on my dad's side, they saw 2 twin girls who are probably going to be tall, and they're like, yep, they're playing basketball. And so I feel like I was kind of ingrained in the sport at a very early age. The love of the game for me probably came in high school. Like that's when I kind of like stopped, I stopped doing it because I was just told to do it and like actually enjoyed it and wanted to do it. I started like shooting thousands and thousands of shots outside in like a week. Like I used to love shooting 3-point shots when I was in high school, actually. Because my twin sister was a post player. And so like, and she's listed at 6'4". I was listed at like 6'1". And so it was inside out just all day. So we played on many basketball teams. We did pretty well. We played against Kia Nurse many times.
Really? How was that? What was that experience like?
Always super competitive games.
Yeah.
And I would say it was 50-50 win and lose. Like they were always tight games. We lost to her team at the OXP finals, like quad A. That was like heartbreaking game. And I'm gonna say, like, I think the refs might have been a bit biased, but I'm gonna leave it there. No. I'm gonna leave it there. No, it was. She's an amazing player. And obviously, like her record shows that she's in WNBA. She's representing Canada at such high levels. So I'm so happy to see her success, because it really feels like a reflection on like the basketball community in Canada for women. But yeah, so, and like, the high school team that I played on, like all the girls are super solid. Like, we had Shay Colley, she plays on the national team now, and she played in the #1 school in the States. So at the time it was South Carolina.
Give your
and
which high school did you go to? Give them a shout out.
St. Edmund Campion.
Oh,
Brampton.
Edmund
Brampton.
Oh.
Hey, we had so much talent at school, even like off the court. We had like musicians like P&D, Party Next Door come through. We had a lot of talent in that school. We had like a famous soccer player come through. Osario on TFC, he's from Campion. Like we've had.
Hey, you guys got some ballers come out of there, man.
Yeah, we got.
We're
okay. We're okay. Shout out to my little sister for committing to Boston University this past week. Actually,
congratulations to her.
Thank you. She's a track and field athlete. She does all the jumps.
Oh God, she's gonna be Is she gonna play multiple sports? Can she do that?
Oh, I feel she definitely could. I'll see. I think she's gonna start with the jumps at Boston, but I have a feeling she's gonna get pulled into so much more.
Oh, that's amazing. So tell me about your collegiate days.
Ryerson, yeah, pretty solid. I was very fortunate to be on a very strong team again. Like that's pretty much like my career. I'm very fortunate for that. First year that I was there, we went to the national tournament. We didn't do as well. I think if you were to like really give us a place, because it gets complicated when you go and like to like winning side, losing side, or whatever, right? I think we might have finished about 6th. I think it sounded like in the first tournament. But then the second year that we went all the way to the finals, and we lost. We got silver, but the experience was like absolutely amazing. We were the first team. It was very close. We were technically the second team, but we won the same night as the men's basketball program. The first time our school has ever won an OUA championship.
Wow.
So us and the men's team at the exact same night, like 10 minutes apart, won the OUA championship that year. Amazing. So it was just like a party. Like it was so fun.
What were you like as a student?
Yo, you're trying to give me the break. I'm like, you're gonna give me to hype myself up over here. Listen, so my athletic career is actually fairly injury ridden. Unfortunately, I had like a bad knee injury in my first year university. So it did end up focusing me a lot on my degree, because I needed to channel my energy that would have been on the court, something else. So I know that like I put all my energy into my degree, and then first year that I did that, like I was on the dean's list. And then the next couple of years, didn't quite make the honor roll, but I was like never ever in an academic trouble. And then my senior year, which I'm surprised that this happened, to be honest, was absolute madness between playing basketball, doing an internship with the Olympics, and like trying to graduate. I somehow got an All-Canadian. So that was like, wow, I made honor roll in the toughest year possible. I should apply myself more often.
Now tell me this, growing up in your household, you come from a sports family. So obviously you guys are probably really competitive with whatever you're doing, right? So tell me about some of the things that your mother and father taught you growing up, some principles, some things that you still live by today.
That's a good question. So funny, my parents are like so different people. They're like the best, but they're also so like not your typical parents at all. My mom's very relaxed. She's very chill. So she's always
how are they not? How are they not the typical parents?
All right, so typical moms will probably want like flowers on Mother's Day. My mom would rather have a power tool in her hand. Like she'd rather have a brand new like toolkit, like of anything. She's very handyman, and like I love her. I love what she does. She's a veterinarian, so I had like a dream childhood really of getting like any pets that I really wanted. Really. So
wow.
We had like a lot of animals growing up, a lot of pets. And then my dad, like he's a guidance counselor, so he was a guidance counselor at the high school I attended. So that kept me and my twin out of a lot of trouble. But it also was also super helpful because we were able to have our dad there, and he was able to like look out for us in his own way. And then he also he knew the basketball coach very well, and so we were able to talk to them and be more transparent with like what what's happening on the court and what needs to be done and where we can improve. because he had a personal relationship with the coaches that we played for that way. So I don't know, my dad, he's been very like, he pushed us really hard growing up, like to play basketball and to do well. We had a lot of expectations, I would say, in our house to, you know, if, for example, university was never ever a question. It was when you go to university, which, you know, when that's all you know growing up, it's like, oh yeah, okay, well, I guess I have to do this. Like, this is not like just like that. Yeah. So we had a high level of expectations in our academics as well as our basketball, which did keep us like really focused on those two aspects of life. But at the cost, I will say, at the cost of not really socializing as much growing up. So, yeah.
Who made you believe that this was possible for you to do? Because did you ever think that you'd be doing what you're doing right now, like as a host and sideline reporter for the 905, say 10 years ago? Did you think this was the trajectory or the area that you'd be in right now?
So when I was, I think about 16 years old, I saw Sage Steele from ESPN on covering a NBA Finals game, and she's like, yeah, this is a while back. And so I saw her, and you know, her hair was curly, Black woman, and I looked at her, and I was like, whoa, like she looks like me, and I was like, I didn't know that I could do that. I didn't know that was an option. Interesting, because I really love media. I loved media. That was like the one course in high school that I really excelled at. And it just came so natural to it. I didn't feel forced. I was just like, I loved video editing. My high school was like very specialty in the fact that like it had access to MacBooks. And so I'd just be in the computer lab all day, just cutting and editing and shooting and filming and blah, blah, blah. And so when I saw like the sideline reporting thing happen, I was like, saying that I could marry my passion of like film and television with like sports and basketball? Interesting. Okay. And so I kind of had an idea back then that was like, maybe I kind of want to do that. Like, that seems really cool. And I just didn't know that was a possibility for me until I saw a woman that looked like me. And so fast forward, I kind of had that idea implanted at the back of my head, being like, yeah, I think I want to do that. I want to do that. And so going into university now, I was able to kind of focus on where I want to make my network. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, well, I knew I really wanted to meet Akil Augustine, like in university. Before I even actually met him, I knew I wanted to meet him. One of
the realest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah, he calls it as what it is.
Yeah.
He's cool people. He's good people. And so, I eventually had the opportunity to meet him in like a pretty organic way. It kind of just flowed. And then I asked him if I could job shadow him when an assignment came up. And I got my foot in the door with NBA TV Canada that way, because I essentially raised my hand and I told him, listen, like I will do anything just to like be in this space. Like, tell me anything you guys need behind the scenes. Like, I will, I said to him, I'll work for free, which you probably shouldn't say in today's day and age. But it paid off for me, because that's exactly how I got the assistant writer position back then. And that was essentially just me being quiet in the room, listening to what like him and Dwayne were saying, and just writing down my notes or writing down notes from the meeting and like the questions that we were coming up with. And eventually they started slowly asking me, like, what do you think of this? And what do you think of that? And that's how they started getting me involved. And I started to find my voice, and everything goes to another. And then boom, here I am doing my thing on air, and I feel confident because I feel like I am able to ask a good question because of my hangout days, and like, almost like fulfill what I really wanted to do back when I was like a teenage girl.
Mm-hmm. So tell me this, what have the opportunities been like for you being a member of the BIPOC community? And how do you feel about the landscape, whether it be in front of the cameras or behind the scenes of the broadcast industry, especially for you, a woman of color?
I think it's no secret that opportunities are super hard to come by as a woman of color. I got my first taste of that in university, I feel like. And I went to a program that was for what I'm doing today. And they did a good job at having gender equality in the classroom. Like there was 50% men and women, but I wasn't satisfied with the diversity in terms of like BIPOC and people of color. And so me being one of the few like people who fall into that category of Black woman, I didn't feel like I was getting as much opportunities on air. I kind of felt like they wanted to go with the people that they're used to seeing on air. And I didn't quite fit that description. However, they did see me as an athlete, so they knew that I knew what I was talking about on the floor. So I was able to kind of get some opportunities by really having to raise my hand, really put my foot down and be like, no, I want to do this. I'm going to be the host for this project. And it's uncomfortable. I'm going to say that right now. Like, I wish I didn't have to be as like demanding and vocal as I was. I wish that it could have just been more, hey, would you like to try this? Would you like to have this opportunity? Blah, blah, but like, that's also not the reality of the world. And then maybe it's the best thing that I had to go through that back then to really, you know, put my foot down later on in life and be like, no, I'm raising my hand for this opportunity. And what I've also noticed, and the biggest thing I'll say to anybody is that, and it doesn't matter what skin color you are, is opportunities are hard in the sport media landscape, period. Create them. Like, it's better to just come up with something and be original and create an idea rather than, you know, try to find weasel away in here or there or a network here. And yes, always network for sure, because you never know where that's going to lead you. But there's also so much opportunity, like exactly what you're doing, Mike. Having a podcast and putting it on YouTube and just having an open conversation. People, there's appetite for it, right? There's always room at the table, and that's my whole thing. There's always room at the table, as long as you. Sometimes that means creating your own opportunities as well.
So for everybody out here who's going to be listening or watching this, what Savannah just said is the best way to predict your future is to create it yourself.
Amen. That's it. Yep. That's no, for real. That's exactly it.
For real.
Yep.
I feel you, man. Listen, if you could I love to ask this question because I'm so interested in what these answers are going to be. But if you could turn back the hands of time, speak to your former 18-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, man.
I ask this question on every podcast. I'm very interested in the answer.
Man, I put so much pressure and expectation on myself, and I still do. And it's something that I'm still trying to like almost work through, because it's okay to take a breath. It's okay to like breathe. Honestly, like the first thing that comes to mind is literally just giving my younger self a hug, being like, you got this. It's okay. You could do this. You know, keep your head on straight, take a breather. Everything's going to work out. You are so well equipped, and don't worry, like you will find a way to succeed. You will succeed. You will find a way.
You know, it's so crazy because especially when you're young, right? So many people really don't understand how important that is, because we come from this time where we call it the microwave society, right? Everybody thinks that they're going to be able to reach their goal in the span of like a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we call it, the microwave society. Because, you know, it's like when somebody's trying to do something and you're trying to warm up some food, you put it in the microwave, in like 3 minutes, you take it out, it's perfectly hot, steam's coming out of it. But nobody wants to take time to properly cut the food up, season it, put it in the oven, wait. You know what I mean? Like, and
let it just wait. Yeah, this is a long marination stage.
Exactly.
Like one thing that I did when I was at Roberston, I looked back and I was like, man, I was crazy. But like I started my own like school radio show. Like it's called Origins, and I actually had people from the industry come in and like share their story. But that was also like my low key way of like networking with them at the same time. And I was like, and that was just like something I created myself. I got a few of my classmates. I was like, I want you, and you're being my co-host, and you're gonna produce it. Like, and like And I transformed that show into like a brief like YouTube show where I was able to like kind of do some more on camera things, and like just like looking back how like every little thing I did, every little thing really does add up to like the bigger picture. So you're right. The microwave stuff doesn't work, but like just also don't like think that like the small things that you're doing are going in vain. They're leading up to something.
Absolutely agree with you. Let me ask you this though. If there was someone you can sit down and learn from, past or present, dead or alive, who would it be? You sit down for 2 hours with this person, just pick their brain and learn.
That's so hard. Like where to begin?
I know.
I was just thinking this question actually the other day to myself too. I was like, and I mean, it's so interesting because like, okay, the first name that actually comes to mind is Harriet Tubman. I know it might be a bit cliche.
That's an interesting one. No, I don't think I've gotten that answer before, actually. Never.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know maybe some people would say like Obama or, you know, Martin Luther King, but I think Harriet Tubman was just such a incredible woman. She risked her life so many times and she kept focused and she saved so many lives. And I would just love to pick her mind on how she stayed strong in such a devastating time period, and how she was able to like really give back and help people when she could. Honestly, if you think about it, most people could barely help themselves. So and she did so with like such accuracy, and she was so good at it. Like, so like, how did she work under all that pressure of like losing your life over something? So yeah, I don't know. I would love to sit down and pick her mind. Maybe she'd be a little intense for me, but like I would love it.
Well, who are the people who have been most influential to you when it comes to this broadcast industry?
Oh man, there's so many. There's so many. I would say the first person is Dwayne Watson, and also Tony Francis, who's also a former producer at MLSC. They've like, Dwayne has like been my mentor, and he's like walked me through a lot of steps, and I'm so fortunate to have that because not everybody does, and that's the fact. And so I'm very spoiled in the fact that like I get that. And for me, I know that like my way of passing down like in giving back is to just reach out to other people, or if other people want to reach out to me, I want to help as many people as I can, just navigate them, whether it's just like a sit down coffee or if they want a more like mentorship thing. I'm just willing to give a little bit of my time and energy where I can to do that, because I think it's so important to like fall back on your community and raise each other up. I hate crabs in a barrel. I hate that. So that's where I think it's important. But yeah, so Dwayne Watson, he really gave me a lot of his time and energy, and like really pushing me to where I've become. He's given me some hard talks, man. I call them Dwayne talks, where he gives you like the real ones to hit your heart hard.
Yo,
I'm like, wow, what am I doing with my life?
Yo, but Dwayne's mad real. Like he, you know, you already know him. You know him a lot more than I do, and I know him as well. But you know, when it comes to the truth, he's gonna give it to you whether you like it or not.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna say it whether you want it or not. So yeah, that's what I appreciate about him at the same time as well. I would say it like also shout out to like my aunt, my parents obviously, but like my aunt, my aunt's she's basically my third parent to me. And she's just been there from day one. She's believed in me from day one. And yeah, so I talk to her almost every single day. And she's giving back in her own way, and she amazes me herself. Like she started a business that helps bring BIPOC people into roles and sets them up for success by giving them the training and the tools to step into positions in organizations, and not just the fancy schmancy, like, you know, basketball or rapping or music. No. Like it's like STEM and like marketing for like
that's awesome
makeup brands and different things. Yeah. So she that type of stuff also like super inspiring to me as well.
So what do you think you'd be doing if you weren't working in sports?
See, I have so many passions in life. It's actually kind of crazy. I love so many different things. I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is I'd probably be working some way, somehow into like in movies, like the movie industry, like as a producer or a writer for film. I love aesthetic like that. Like I just love film. And then probably another one would be like somewhere in the music industry. I like to have a passion for music too. I actually do a lot of painting. I love art. That's actually like the secret I kind of have that maybe I'll privy you guys to.
You're a painter?
I am.
What?
I was recommended to go to OCAD and like multiple different art schools back in high school, elementary. Yeah. So I love painting, but I also keep it as a hobby because it's a stress reliever. And like, I don't want to put the pressure of like making it a business or something like that. And then it kind of loses its fun. So yeah, I that's what I also love. So me and Patrick Matumbo on the Raptors 905, we both love painting as a side thing.
That's exactly who I thought about when you said that.
Yeah.
So tell me this then, aside from the painting, what is something about you that most people don't know? Maybe even something that in the past you've been maybe insecure about or uncomfortable about, you know, just saying about yourself. What is something maybe that you can share with the world now that you feel you couldn't share before?
That's you come with the hard questions, man.
Hey, I've been listening to some Dr. Phil, you know.
Yeah. Don't listen to no Dr. Phil. He sets you up. He sets you up for the real stuff, for the tears. Man, what could I have not said to the world before? One thing I will say that trying to figure out how I want to say this. Okay, maybe I'll open up about this. Something as I guess my own identity in a way. And so, you know, I am biracial and I love both sides of my family so much. However, only more so recently, as in the past few years, did I realize that, you know, I don't have the same privilege as my mom or my mom's side of the family. And I've had to really come to the realization that, like, because of that, I will never be white. Like, I will never have that really ingrained. Like, I'm not white passing. I'm black. I'm a black woman. I've been accepted by the Black community, and basketball has also been, you know, basketball is a part of Black culture. It just straight up is.
Absolutely.
And that's where I felt at home the most. And so I feel like my own identity, I've kind of veered away from calling myself mixed, and which I am still, obviously, but like I've started just calling myself, no, I'm black. I'm a black woman. Like, that's where I'm accepted. That's where I feel at home. And that's where I enjoy being, to be honest.
No, I love that answer. You know, it's really real and it's the truth, right? So I appreciate you sharing that. Now, before we get out of here, we just got a few minutes left. Like, where are you trying to take your career? Where do you see yourself, say, in the next 5-10 years? That's kind of a tough question. It's really open and broad, but where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be? Yeah,
like, I want to continue in the next 5 years. I definitely want to continue to do what I'm doing today. Like, but you know, wherever that will lead me, wherever that will take me in the future, maybe that will take me to a bigger stage. I don't know. We'll see where the future takes. But you know, I'm very grateful for the opportunity and everything that I have right now. And but the next 10 years, you know, hopefully once again, another bigger stage, or just having great conversations with more amazing people. I do know that I want to eventually get my master's, however I can do that. And I think I finally figured out exactly, because I didn't get my master's right away because I wanted to figure out what exactly I wanted to get it in. And it's kind of funny because my initial thought when I graduated was I want to do something in like diversity and like inclusion. And now, like, more than ever, especially, it's just become way more apparent that like diversity and inclusion is definitely the way I want to go.
Yeah,
definitely needed. It needs to like have the conversations in the classroom, and because like that's setting a lot of mindsets for how people are going to approach the workplace in the future. So I'll probably look into doing that as well, on top of everything I'll be doing in my career, hopefully at the time.
Awesome. So Savannah Hamilton, host of Raptors Today, alongside Paul Jones and Sherman Hamilton. Also
the best people, man.
Oh yeah, best. Also the sideline reporter for the Raptors 905. Where can we find you on social?
Okay. My Twitter is at Savvy Hamilton, SAVY Hamilton, which, I've actually debated on changing that because like, is that too like cheesy? I don't know. Some people are like, no, I like it. But at the same time, the full Savannah Hamilton handle has been taken. So I was like, I gotta like figure something out here. But for now, it's Savvy Hamilton. And then my Instagram as well. You can hit me up on there as well. Savannah Hamilton 11. And 11 was my basketball number. So I'm not changing that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Savannah, thank you for taking the time to be on the show today, and look forward to speaking to you again soon. And I really want to do a show with you when this damn pandemic is over.
Yes.
And I have the spot to do this show.
Oh,
it's going to be off the chain. Trust me. Okay. It's going to be off
all
the
right.
hook. But you already have an invite. So please make sure you're there. Okay.
Hey,
please make sure you're there.
Okay. Well, after the pandemic, I'm doing everything and anything. Okay? I'm just like, I'm gonna be out here. Get me out of this house. Condo.
I can't wait. I can't wait. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this, and we'll talk again soon.
Good. Thanks for having me, Mike. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.